Hey, John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy. Thank you so much for joining. And hopefully, we are going live on Instagram as well. We're talking about types of loans for this specific episode. And today, we're going to specifically talk about USDA. Now, when I was growing up in the real estate business, I like to use that terminology. It's my 47th year in the business, but years ago when I was growing up as a young real estate agent, we called USDA loans Farmers Home Administration, and they were very popular loans, and I did a number of Farmers Home Administration loans back in the early 80s. In fact, even in 1978 when I first got my license. Today we call this USDA. It's part of the Department of Agriculture. And, they're really ideal type of loans for people who are on a fixed income, who don't have a lot of money. There is what's called the Section 502, and they're not going to ask you that. They could throw it in the question. For a direct loan program, but it's funded by the USDA. So there's two types of loans with USDA that you need to know for the real estate exam. There's what we call the guaranteed loan, and then we have what is called the direct loan. Okay, when it's a direct loan, and these are some key points I would have you write down. Direct loans, USDA Direct, the agencies making the loan directly to the individual. They are for very low income families, borrowers. And generally, if you purchased a home for $200,000, and it was, I think they did a lot of these 33 and a third year amortization terms, with a certain interest rate, might be a lower interest rate. If you amortize that out, it might come up to be a payment of, let's just say, $1,200 a month or $900 a month, whatever the fee might be. Well, based on your income and some formulas that USDA has, they're going to subsidize that payment, okay? So your payment might only be $260 a month, or $380 a month. I'm just throwing numbers out, but you're not going to have to make that full payment because the government's subsidizing your housing, your payment. Now, the question people always ask is, well, gosh, John, that sounds great. Does that mean I never have to pay that back? And the answer is no. Many of those people who had those, and I've sold many of them, who had guaranteed loans not guaranteed, direct loans from the USDA where their payment was subsidized because they're going to reevaluate your income each year. They're going to look at your tax returns. Many of those homeowners that I sold homes for, if their loan was subsidized and they sold their home in, let's say, 7 years, and through appreciation of housing prices and the equity, they do have to pay that money back, okay? So sometimes people thought, oh gosh, I'm going to make $50,000 off the sale of my home. But what they don't realize or didn't realize is they have $32,000 in payments, subsidized payments they have to pay back. Now, all those rules are different per area. You qualify differently per area by the average income, and I'll talk about some of that here in a minute. I have some notes in front of me. What I want you to know is this: the direct loans are made by the agency, and they're for very low to low income borrowers. In fact, just write a note that John says direct loans, there's this more subsidized. The government's paying, it's going to assist with their payments, okay? Now, that a direct loan, and you need to write this down as well, is only available through the USDA rural offices. So you have to go there to apply. You have to go there to to start the paperwork. Now that doesn't mean you cannot use a real estate agent. You could still do that, okay? But you have to go to the local office to find out. And it's often used for very affordable housing needs. Now, USDA also has what is called the Guaranteed Loan Program. And the Guaranteed Loan Program is through approved lenders. I would write that down if you're studying for the test. Direct, you go through the agency. Very low income. And they're going to look at what your income is. They're going to look at your tax returns or the documents you have. And those are going to be made directly from the agency. Guaranteed loans, this is where the government's guaranteeing, just like VA guarantees a loan, where FHA does what? FHA insures the loan, okay? FHA does not make direct loans. You have to go through a qualified lender. VA can make some direct loans, but generally you go through a qualified lender as well. So getting back to USDA, direct loans, very, very low income families have to go through the agency. Payment's probably going to be subsidized, and if you ever sell the property and you make a big profit, you're probably going to have to pay part of that back, okay? Those rules change a lot, so you're not going to need to know that for the test. The guaranteed loan through USDA is made through approved lenders, and so USDA will guarantee that loan for the lender. Issued by private lenders, banks, mortgage companies, USDA guarantees a portion of the loan in case you or the borrower defaults. But it's a great program for folks. More common and used in traditional real estate transactions, still 100% financing with no down payment. So there are opportunities out there for you as a real estate professional, and we talked about that on yesterday's broadcast. You see those apartment buildings, what do you see? I see people that want to own their own home. They're saying, John, I don't have any money to put down. And you say, I'm going to work with a lender, get a good postcard program going, find out the addresses of the apartment complexes, and I'm going to learn all I can learn about FHA, VA, and USDA loans, because I've got some people, I know there are people in those apartment complexes, they want to own their own home. And there are many in there who have good credit, good jobs. They just don't have a down payment, but they don't know about this type of stuff. So you could hold virtual home buyer seminars. You could do a home buyer seminar at your office, invite a loan officer to come in. But there's still opportunities for 100% financing, such as VA, USDA, and remember, just 3.5% down on an FHA loan, and sellers can pay closing costs there. So if the question mentions a private lender or guaranteed loan with the initials USDA in it, okay, the USDA guaranteed loan, the government takes the loan directly that the let me back up here. If the question mentions a private lender, then it's a guaranteed loan through USDA. But if the government makes the loan directly, it's a USA direct loan, okay? Don't forget that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention to you, I've been having students tell me there are lots of abbreviations, and I put some of this for my students. I'm going to just go over some of these here. FHA, the Federal Housing Administration. I think that's right. Now I'm drawing a mind blank. I have an easy acronym here called Friendly Home Access. You could remember that, but that's not what FHA stands for. But MIP, M as in Mary, IP is what? Mortgage Insurance Premium. Mortgage Insurance Premium. Don't forget that. and FHA is going to require MIP both upfront and monthly. And you're going to pay that for the life of your loan. So just understand that's an additional cost on top of the principal and interest and taxes and insurance payment. FHA loans are insured by HUD, and FHA is popular for first-time home buyers because they will work with lower credit scores and down payment required. So USDA works with lower credit scores as well. VA, couple of abbreviations. There we go. Couple of abbreviations there. Veterans Affairs, COE, Certificate of Eligibility. You have to. A lot of this you can get online today. Back in the day, we had to wait for those to come in from the Veterans Office or drive to St. Louis, which was an hour away, downtown to the VA building and pick that up. But today, I think you can get it right over the computer. COE, put those initials down for VA loans, Certificate of Eligibility. They have a DD, D as in Delta, 214, okay? That's your military discharge form used to apply for the COE, the Certificate of Eligibility. I haven't had anybody tell me they saw what a DD 214, but we talked about it now, so you'll be ready for it. Funding fee, one-time fee for veteran can be financed. And, I have another thing down here, IRRRL, interest rate reduction refinance loan. I don't know if you'll see that or not, but I, 3 R's and an L, interest rate reduction refinance loan. And there is a what we call the COV. It's the Certificate of Value with VA loans. COV, Certificate of Value. And that has to do with the appraisal price of the property. But anyway, I have a list of abbreviations. You might want to make sure you know those. I think they're asking some of those for the exam. Well, USDA, great opportunity for low-income borrowers. If you have somebody who says, you're talking to a buyer who says, man, I'm only making X number of dollars, but I don't have a car payment, I don't have credit cards. I've had those type of borrowers before, and they want to own a home. They don't want to live in an apartment, and there's hope for them, because now hey, I could take them over to the local USDA office, because you have to apply there for a USDA office, and you could have them apply for a USDA direct loan, right? Where the government will help them with their house payment. Now, those folks need to understand they're still going to have to pay taxes and insurance, which might be escrowed. They're still going to have to do repairs. If the sewer plugs up, stops up, they got to call a plumber. They need to replace a ceiling fan, that's on them, okay? There's still going to be upkeep with that home. But there's lots of people I know who can do that kind of stuff, and they want to do that kind of stuff, and they want to be own their own home, and they still get to build up some equity in their property. So USDA direct is made by the agency. USDA guaranteed is made by an approved lender. Whew. There we go. You need to know USDA because I'm looking at the outline, and that's one of the loan types as well as FHA and VA. So you need to know this for sure. Well, I'm going to come back tomorrow. Let's take a look and see Tomorrow, we're going to talk about owner financing, one of my favorite things to talk about. I've got some great stories I can share with you. And I'll come back and tell you my VA story, one of the coolest stories, I think, in my real estate career. So you need to subscribe so you'll be notified when I go live and you can find out. I hope this is helpful, just trying to go live a little more often than I have been. I know I need to do that. I got a zillion projects I'm juggling, but I can carve out 15, 20 minutes to do this. And also to exercise. I got to start doing that as well, okay? Hey, thanks for watching this live stream. Check us out, globalrealestateschool.com. I just want you to know we do have 5-star reviews. And I know those of you on Instagram can't see all of this, and I apologize. But trust me, globalrealestateschool.com. It's the place to go for online real estate education. Hey, thanks for watching. As always, go out and have a great day.